What's going on, and welcome to Oil and Gears. Today's gonna be what I like to call junkyard gold. Now, usually whenever I go to a junkyard, it's, just to find one part, or maybe I'm looking for a project and I need a part just so I know how to take something apart, put it together, because I don't want to use the original part that's on my car. So, one day I saw that there was a yellow RS scionxb first gen. And so it had been there for maybe a week. And after one of our Scion meets, I decided, hey, you know what? On a whim, I'm going to go to this junkyard and I'm going to see if there's some certain parts that are there. And, well, I'll show you later on in the video. But I went to a different junkyard and I got some of these parts for the second gen. So, when I went to the junkyard, there was a 2008 Scion XB second gen, and usually the second gen Scion XBs are just base models. This one, for some reason, well, let me go back. So the Mica Gold and the Voodoo Blue second gens are the only cars that have the sunroof on it. Whoa. They only have the sunroofs on it. So the 2008 that was there had a panoramic sunroof that went all the way to the back. So I thought that was a little bit odd. But then I started to think, well, if they installed that, then that means that there must be other stuff in that car. So what I did was I opened it up, and lo and behold, in the door sills were the LED door sills that light up. Yes, these were in there. So the only bad thing about these is that the LED was stuck to the car still, but I was able to get these. I can add LEDs here on the back and they will still light up. As you can see there, I got both driver and passenger side. Very cool. And what I also did was I took the wiring harnesses for it. So I got everything but the LEDs, because the LEDs actually just broke off when I was trying to take these off on both sides. But whenever I connect to other LEDs, I can put these just like how the factory or how the option was on the car, because I took pictures of what wires these were connected to. As you can see, they're T-taps on those wires. So grab some LEDs, put these on the Voodoo Blue, as you can see behind me. We're good to go. Junkyard gold, man. Sometimes you find stuff at the junkyard and you don't even realize it. Another thing that I got was this grill that goes on the top of the bumper. This one's actually broken right here, but these things are cheap enough to get at the junkyard that a project that I'm thinking about doing is actually cutting this out, this honeycomb here, and replacing it with kind of like a frosted plastic, and behind that would be LEDs. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes. This is going to be that project piece where, I cut up and do whatever, and then if I feel like that's something that I want to do, then I'll do it to the original that I already have. Another thing that I got was the bottom grill of the Scion XB. Now this is actually from a 2.5 gen, I guess you can say, not the second gen, because the bumper is different on the 2.5s than the 2s. So I actually got this off of a 2.5 gen as well. But this is going to be a project piece because years ago, and you've probably seen this in my other videos, I got this. I found this at a junkyard, but it's just been sitting in my garage. And what I'm thinking about doing is cutting out the letters here, repainting them black, and then this orange piece we're going to do the Voodoo Blue, and then I'll put these letters onto this grill here. So it's not going to have the honeycomb, and believe me, you guys are probably like, why don't you just keep using the honeycomb? Well, it's so far gone, this piece, when I found it, that there's no restoring it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those letters off, put it on this, and look good as new. So as you can see there, just like that, it'll look like that. I was hoping that it would fit enough to where I can put fog lights on the side. It's possible if I get small fog lights to put here. I don't know. We'll see what happens once I put it together and see what it looks like. But that's the idea. Another thing this 2008 second gen had, and these are pretty expensive if you find them online, were these little cargo nets that go on the back of the car. So right here, right there, these go on the back spaces of the second gens, and these were on the 2008. I don't remember seeing any of these being on the second gen. If you know, if that was an option on the second gen, not the 2.5 gen, but I found these on there and they actually fit the 2.5 gens. You have to drill some holes in there. The net is pretty loose, so I can tighten that up, but you know, sanding it down, repainting it, I mean, we'll see what happens. This was another good find for sure. I did come across this. So in my last video, I thought that a second gen TC airbox would fit the 2.5, and it doesn't because the holes are lined up differently. So I found this one from a 2.5 gen, and this should fit, you know, perfect. And I also got the screws to tighten it down. And what I was thinking is actually buying the TRD top and the intake to go with the 2.5. So that's another idea that I think about doing. So we'll see how that goes. And then I found these. These go on the rocker panels underneath. I needed some of those. And I did find a first gen fog switch. And this I'm actually going to use, and I do have the wiring for this. I'm actually going to use these for my first gen. I'm going to wire some LEDs to this, maybe the outside underglow. That way I can control it with this. So that'd be pretty cool. Alright, so back to the RS Solar Yellow release series first gen Scion XB. So it had already been about a week when I went up there, and I already thought that the car was going to be gutted because there's some parts on the Solar Yellow first gens that people look for all the time. But this is what I found. So when I started walking towards the row of where this first gen was, I saw about 5 guys on a car, and at that point I thought, maybe these guys are already getting all the good stuff from this Solar Yellow. But they were working on a car next to the Scion XB, and as I started getting closer to the car, I started getting more excited. And I'll show you first what I found. So this are the door sills. So these door sills have markings on it for the Scion XB release series Solar Yellow. So those are for the rear, and these are for the front, as you can see there. Don't ask me if they're for sale because they're already spoken for. So, but yeah, I found these, and man, the junkyard gold. Sometimes you find these and you don't even realize it. So that was exciting. I got these. But the most exciting thing that I got, and these, I mean, I always have people wanting these type of mirrors. The Solar Yellow side mirrors with the blinkers. Yes, they were still on the car after a week. Can you believe that? I got another pair. I already have one pair that I found maybe a year and a half ago at the junkyard, and I had them wrapped in carbon fiber, and they're on my car now. But these, I can't believe they were still on the car. So this one still has the wiring on there. The other one does not. This one does not, but you can either find the pigtail that goes to this, or you can just wire it straight into the side markers like I did. So Not a big problem. It's missing one of these screws here, but yeah, they look in really good shape. There's a little bit of crack in the light right there, but still, look at that. Junkyard find, I'm telling you. So on the Solar Yellow, it does come with the DC Sport exhaust. That unfortunately wasn't on there. It just had a regular muffler. The door sills, they're marked for the release series, the side mirrors, and sometimes they have a strut bar, a Hotchkiss strut bar in there, which they didn't, and then the grill. So if you like those type of grills, this one had the grill, it was on the floor, but it was all bent up. There's no reason to take it. So, but those are some of the things you can find on that release series, the Solar Yellow. But again, 2 different times back to back when I went to the junkyard, I did find this stuff, and I'm telling you, it was like striking gold, because some of this stuff, if you try to find online, it's really expensive. So finding these at the junkyard is really cool. And the Scions, they're not showing up very much at the junkyards like they used to 2 years ago when I first started this channel. They were always there. I was always able to get some good parts, and now I guess people realize that they are gas savers, so people are making sure that they fix them up and, you know, change out the engine or whatever. But again, if you try to find some of these parts online, they're a little bit more expensive than normal. And you know, I try not to buy so many parts online because, wow, yeah. So, but again, those are some of the things that I found at the junkyard. Junkyard gold is like what I like to call them. I am still working on the first gen, adding the Carzaria speakers. I took them out because I'm adding LEDs around them because I really want them to glow at night. The lights on there do work, but I don't think they're bright enough for what I want. But I'm adding LEDs around behind there to brighten it up so you can see them at night. I am adding, I guess you would say, wheel rings to the first gen. I don't want necessarily the underglow around the car, but looking to do that as well. And then I'm starting back up on the second gen here. As you can see, this is actually not the Ken style body kit, the original one. This one I bought off of OfferUp that came up online, and the guy was actually closing down his mechanic shop, and he said that he had it in the attic. So I got an extra back Ken style body kit bumper cover. So and so I'm doing a little bit different on the front of the Voodoo Blue release series. So my channel is going to start up again in full force. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening in the back end. You know, you got family and summer and all that fun stuff. But now that it's not as hot and the summer's almost over and the fall's coming in, this is going to be a good time to work in the garage. So if you got any suggestions, comment down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.